Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Johnson. I'm the instructor for this class, Anthropology 2301, Physical Anthropology, or if we were to update the name of the course, it'd be called Biological Anthropology. Physical Anthropology is the old name for the subdiscipline, but Northwest Vista hasn't caught up with that yet, and so it stays on the books as Physical Anthropology. So today what we're going to do is just do a quick kind of course navigation tutorial to show you how to navigate our Canvas course. We'll talk about the syllabus a little bit, and then that'll be the first video. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask them as a reply. I'll post this in an announcement, so just ask all the questions directly as a reply to the announcement. I'll show you how to do that as well. All right, so I'm going to go and share my screen and show you what our Canvas page is. This is an online asynchronous course, and so we will not ever meet face-to-face or like in a Zoom meeting. However, you are expected to still engage with material. I'll still be giving you feedback and comments on your assignments. You'll still be participating in assignments with your classmates. And there are a few of those coming up here in the first few weeks of the semester. So when you're looking at the Canvas course, this is what you're going to see when you show up. Actually, I'm going to switch over to student view really quick so you can see it from your perspective, not my perspective. So this is what the Canvas course will look like for you. On the left-hand side over here, you've got your home screen, which is where we are now, announcements. And announcements are really important because any information that I need to communicate to you as a class, I'm going to post as an announcement. Now, typically announcements get emailed out to students as soon as I post them. However, sometimes they don't. And so just make a habit of just periodically checking the announcements tab over here in Canvas and look at any announcements that I might post. Anytime you have any questions, there's a reply function to any of the announcements. So if you go and you read the announcements, you're okay, I have a question about this. You can simply click reply. Let me get my handy dandy drawer out. You can simply click reply right here, and you can ask your question. And then I'll respond to you directly. Announcements, every day I check the announcements to see if there are any questions posted in it. I will post videos like this in it sometimes, and you can respond in the announcements there as well. Next in the list, you have the course syllabus, and this is kind of formatted as Alamo College's like requires us to. But it's generally got the basic information for the course here. And actually, I can add some more stuff to that in the time being. We'll look at the syllabus for the class that I'm teaching face to face. It's basically exactly the same, except you and I are not meeting face to face. You'll have an assignments tab. You won't really ever have to come in here unless you just want to get a general idea of when due dates are, because all of the assignments are going to be posted on their respective pages for the weeks that I expect them to be done. Discussions, yet again, you shouldn't have to go into discussions except if you're responding to one of your classmates. You can come into discussions and read kind of what people have said to your posts. And you've got we'll talk about the specific kinds of assignments that you have over the course of the semester. You'll get an idea of like what those discussions are going to look like, and I explain it in directions. Your grades, people, and then Zoom. We're not going to meet face to face, so I won't ever have anything scheduled in Zoom. However, if you do want to meet with me, you can schedule a meeting with me, and I'll set up a Zoom here for us to meet. So back to the home screen. This is what you're looking at. The first thing that you're going to do when you start working on the course, the semester starts next week. So as I'm recording this, it's January 14th. The semester starts on January 18th. But you'll click on this banner right here, and I tell you to do that, and just go through the orientation module. But it's not going to. Okay, there's an orientation module here. Let me exit student view really quickly. Here we go. So the orientation module right here, and you're going to basically start where it says start here, and you're going to go through this module. And it'll basically introduce you to the different parts of the course. There's like a little introduce yourself assignment to do in here. And other than that, it's just kind of course policy schedule, and that kind of stuff. And then the rest of the pictures here are each a link to a page with that respective material. So if you click about this course, it's going to tell you about this course. It's going to give you a general idea about the kind of topics we're going to cover, the required materials, of which there are none. I supply you with everything you need to complete this course. All of the readings will be posted directly on Canvas for you. So you can just, when you click on the week, and we'll see this in a minute, you'll be able to have access to everything. So you don't need to go out and purchase a textbook or anything like that. We're good. I also include just a note about accommodations with student disability services, and then Title IX protections, just to know that you are supported in this class. If you click on About Me, that's me, Adam, and you can read about me. I have a new article up. Actually, I should post a link to, actually, I think you'll watch it later in the semester, so never mind. New article that I just published last year with Rebecca Lester. I actually did a webinar yesterday up on this article. And you can read a little bit about me if you have any questions to that. Obviously, I'm happy to chat about it. I love what I do. I love my work. So I'm always happy to chat about the kind of research that I do as an anthropologist. And then each of the other pictures on here are going to be your content pages. So if you click on week 1, it's going to take you to the page for week 1. And the weeks are going to have like a weekly overview that just basically tells you, explains kind of this part down here. So like what's this week about? What are the things you need to do this week? And then like the general learning objectives for the week. And so for week 1, so the week started on January 18th, this is added to your to-do list on your calendar. So if you look at your course calendar from the home page, you'll be able to see all of these on there as well. And it also reminds you each week. So every week you're going to have to read some stuff, you're going to have to watch some stuff, and you have to complete some stuff. You don't have to complete some stuff every week, but most weeks you have to, there's assignments to complete. So for the first week, you're going to complete this little short lesson. What is anthropology? There's several videos. So anthropology is kind of split into 4 different subdisciplines. There's this class, which is biological anthropology, but there's also cultural anthropology, archaeology, and linguistics. And so this is going to kind of walk you through what each of those are. And so you just read a little bit. We'll go through this right now, I guess, together, just so you get an idea. Watch the videos, they're fairly short, and then move on to the next. Same thing, I give you some ideas of like potential jobs that fall under each of the subdisciplines. For anytime you have a link like this, that's going to take you to a page that talks about that topic. In some cases, it's like, so you can learn more about biological anthropology or cultural anthropology or whatever, than I am requiring you to read here. Mainly, I want to keep these like nice little short chunks so that you can, you're not kind of overwhelmed by stuff. Anytime there are words that might be foreign to you, I try to link those. So if you don't know what that means, then you can look that up. And some potential jobs, of course, there's a lot more that you can do. These are just things that came off the top of my head, really. And move on to cultural anthropology, another short video, more jobs, a little short explanation, archaeology, yet again, same thing. Linguistic anthropology, same thing. And then you have a short reflection. And so you should complete this, and this has to be completed no later than 11:59 p.m. on the 19th, because at Northwest Vista, we have Census Day, which is kind of the middle of the day on January 20th for the semester. And if you haven't like completed an assignment by that day, then you automatically get dropped from the class. And so I want to avoid that. So this is the assignment that we're going to use to avoid you being dropped from the class. By the way, the way I've structured this class, it should not be overly difficult. There is a bit of reading, but I'll record, there will be another separate video that explains how to read, because there are no exams in this class. There are no quizzes in this class. And so you don't need to read to memorize a bunch of little minute details in the articles that you're going to read. Instead, I want you to focus on like what's the argument that the author is making, kind of why are they making this argument, what's the evidence that they're using to support their argument, what's the point of the article altogether. If you can answer those questions and relate them to the themes and topics of the class, you are golden. You don't need to like memorize anything from the articles. And so I'll record a video that explains how to go about reading these articles efficiently and in a way that's not going to take up, days of your life for them. So that is the first assignment you have to do, and that's part of week 1. We'll just jump back in here. You also have an article to read. And yet again, you're not getting tested on this, so I don't need you to memorize stuff, such a chapter in the book. So this chapter by Christina Torin, just read through it. Anytime you don't know like a word or a concept, just jot it down, take some notes on the articles, kind of interesting stuff. And what I recommend, since you're not going to have the video for how to read this stuff right now, as you get started, ask questions of the article. I mean, the chapter. So the chapter is Anthropology, the whole science of what it is to be human. Well, what the heck does that mean? So ask that question of the article and figure out how you can answer that question. What does it mean for anthropology to be the whole science of what it is to be human? And see what Christina Torin says. This is just a way to give you an understanding of kind of what anthropology is about. And I'll talk about this again. There'll be a couple of videos for you to watch. They'll be short. I'm going to do my best to keep all of the like lessons that I record every week to be less than 15 minutes. So you might have a couple of videos, but they should be less than 15 minutes each. And then you'll have things to complete. For instance, the what is anthropology thing that was part of this. You will have already completed that. You have self-assessments. So these are, you have 3 of them throughout the course of the semester. And these are ways for you to set goals for yourself and evaluate your own work and your own engagement in the class. This is a really important process to go through. And I know that most classes don't ask you to do this kind of work, but I highly recommend that you do for all of your classes. Like just take the time to sit back and think about what it is that you want to accomplish with the class. And as you're going throughout the semester, like how are you doing with those goals that you set for yourself? It really does make the course kind of matter more to you. And so you don't feel like you're just like taking a course as part of your degree program, or so you can transfer to another institution. But it's like, okay, how can I make this class work for me based on my interests and my goals? And so that's what these self-assessments do. The first one is going to ask you to set some goals for yourself. And actually, I need to take off this last one because I'm not having you do this. I used to have a little quiz that didn't count, and I did away with it because students last semester were like, this is really stressful, and like it didn't feel like it didn't work for me. And I'm like, cool, we'll just get rid of it then. And so that's what I've done. And then there are a few other kinds of assignments. You've got your the stuff like your little short reflections, like you do with what is anthropology. There are your self-assessments. There are 3 of those. And then there are 4 introduction reflections, and there are 4 debriefings that you will complete throughout the course of the semester. The introduction reflections don't require any work of you apart from sitting and thinking and writing. You're going to do these introduction reflections before you engage in the material for the unit. There are 4 units in this class. The first unit is evolution and biology. The second unit is more than human anthropology, where I'll talk about primates, and we'll read about conservation and my work in multi-species relations. The third unit is on hominin evolution, and then the 4th unit is on contemporary humans. And so for each of those units, there'll be an introduction reflection that you'll complete before you start the unit, before you start reading for the unit. So you basically just, what do you come into this unit already have? What are you coming into this unit already having in your bag? What do you already know? What do you already think? What do you already believe about this topic? And so for the first one, which you'll complete by next week, you're going to be engaging in evolutionary theory and associated concepts. So like we'll talk about in this first unit. We'll talk about evolution. We'll talk about evolutionary mechanisms, the history of thought about evolution. Ecology, we'll talk a little bit about genetics. I used to do a lot more with genetics in a class that ended up being a little bit overwhelming for the students, and so kind of reconsidered what the genetics part of the class looks like. And so we'll talk a little bit about basic genetics, but for the most part, we're going to focus on the history of the development of our understanding of how evolution works. We will try to in this unit resolve the conflict that exists in the United States between religion and evolutionary theory, or religion and science more generally, because that's a conflict that we manufacture. It doesn't actually exist. And you'll have actually a little short assignment to do on that, I think, in week 3 or week 2. So just like, what do you know? What do you understand about evolution before you ever start reading about it in this class? And then we'll talk about evolution and religion. We'll talk about mechanisms of evolution. We'll talk about how Darwin didn't invent the idea of evolution, that people have understood that populations of organisms change over time for thousands of years at this point, before Darwin just articulates a mechanism by which organisms adapt to their environments, but not that organisms evolve in the first place. So you'll have that. Those are your assignments for the first week. So going back to the home page, in the second week, it looks a little bit different. There's a couple of readings. There's that's when you'll have your how to read academic literature. And I really suggest reading that before you start reading the articles. There's a couple of short videos. This video by Friar Cole is going to be used in the little collaborative assignment you're going to work on. So you're going to work on this in the discussion board here, but you need to watch the video first. The articles are cool. The Gregory article is really great. Before you work on this assignment, you need to read the Gregory article, because there's some he talks about common misconceptions. And so what I tend to do with your readings, by the way, is to give you some direction on how to approach the reading. So why did I assign this reading to you? What do I want you to get out of it? So I try to give you that up front, so that you know what you're looking for. We'll go to week 3. This is when we'll start talking about kind of the development of evolutionary theory with natural selection and the modern synthesis, which is a kind of an extension to the Darwinian evolution of natural selection, sexual selection that he postulates. So for that, yet again, 2 articles, another Gregory article. This is a really great article. I really like it. And then the Corning article is going to set us up for talking about kind of beyond the modern synthesis, which will be in week 4. I'll do a little short video that just talks about evolutionary thought before Darwin, and then one that talks about natural selection and the modern synthesis. The modern synthesis really just adds genetics on top of natural selection. And a little short YouTube video. And you have another assignment. This is doing paleoanthropology collaboratively. These are going to be these collaborative assignments that you do. And in this, it's pretty straightforward. This is a discussion board where you talk about it, and then you'll have a final kind of place for you to submit the assignment. I provide you with a scan here, and you're gonna analyze that scan based on these prompts here. There are 4 of them. I will every week, for any assignments, I'll record another video every week and post it. Be like, hey guys, here's what's up. Here's what I want you to do. So I won't explain this in too much detail, but you'll have that, and you will submit the assignment here. That's when you will submit. Oh, another thing that I'll mention, I almost always explain how to receive full credit on the assignment, explicitly. So on this assignment, how do you receive full credit? Respond thoroughly to each of the 4 prompts, and then correctly apply the concepts, fact, and hypothesis. And if you do that, then that's full credit. So I always try to be really explicit about what I expect you to do. For week 4, I still need to write out for a lot of these your kind of weekly setup and whatnot, but you're still going to have your read, and there'll be some stuff to watch for this, but I'm going to continue to add that stuff throughout. But all your assignments, so there's any assignments that you get turned in, all those are already on here. but I will continue to build out the Canvas page as we move through the semester. For week 4, we're going to basically wrap up our conversation about mechanisms for evolution by looking at the extended evolutionary synthesis. So the Leyland article on evolutionary causes and processes, and then this is just a website, and I just want you to explore it and kind of watch the videos and read about it at your own leisure. The website is in part run by Kevin Leyland, so these two things go together. You have your first lab assignment, which is not showing up for some reason. I will fix that. Actually, I'll fix it right now. When I transfer over the assignments and stuff from last semester, sometimes they don't work in the way that I want them to. Anyways, it should work. You've got your natural selection assignment here, and there's a virtual website, and you're going to simulate some ecological changes, and there's a worksheet that you'll go through, and you'll basically just complete this worksheet. You'll download it, fill out the worksheet, and then just resubmit it right here. Oops. You also have your next introduction reflection. So this will be the introduction reflection for the next unit. So the more than human unit, we're going to talk about primates. We're going to talk about multi-species relations, and just climate change, conservation, deforestation, stuff like that. And so you'll do basically what you did for evolutionary theory, but on the next unit of the class. Then we'll start that unit, and when we start that unit, you will do your debriefing for the last unit that we completed. So the first week of any new unit, you're gonna write your debriefing for the unit you just completed. So you've done this unit, great job. Now kind of put everything together. What did you learn? Looking back at your own introduction reflection, what does what do you understand differently now? Is there anything useful that you can kind of bring into your own career or whatever from that section? I want to see you kind of synthesize the material. But yet again, we'll talk about this when we get close to it. I'll go into more detail on it. And then that's pretty much how the course is going to go. You will have, I think in week 7, in one of these weeks, you're going to have your second self-assessment. Week 6, you'll have your second self-assessment, and this is just going to be kind of a midway point where you're going to look back at your goals you set for yourself, and you're going to look back at like your course engagement, the feedback that I've given you on your assignments, and then respond to some prompts. There'll be some more kind of lab doing it topology assignments is what I call them. These are going to have you, in some cases, observe primate behavior on San Diego Zoo's live webcam. There's one where you write like a kind of longer form reflection on a documentary that you're going to watch. There is one where you will use the Smithsonian Institute's Human Origins 3D scanned fossil skull website to kind of analyze hominin fossils and compare them. And then finally, you have your final self-assessment. So your final self-assessment is going to have you propose a grade to me that you think you earned in the class, not the grade that you want, but the grade that you earned, and just kind of think back about what you've done in the semester so far. And that's kind of it. So if you have any problems navigating the course, if any of the links don't work for you, which is sometimes the case when I transfer over, I've tried to go through and check stuff, but clearly I've missed things. Just let me know, and we will get it fixed for you. And please stay in touch with me, even though this is an asynchronous course. Like, I'm going to be responding to you in the discussion boards. I'm going to be writing comments as feedback on your assignments, just privately to you. Please stay in touch with me, be in conversation with me. This class is as fun and as interesting as you make it. Being asynchronous, we don't get to hang out in a classroom and handle fossils and go out and like map, NBC campus or whatever, like I do the face-to-face classes. But what we do have access to are some really great online resources, and I'll continue to think about ways that I can make the class more engaging as we go through the semester. Any questions, reach out, ask any questions to reply to this announcement. And I'm looking forward to working with you during the course of the semester.